The chamber was too quiet. The floor lights shone up into 100 alien faces and made their skin look like stone. Every breath sounded loud. Every small cough felt rude. Rumors floated in the air the way dust floats in sunlight. Earth is weak. Earth is hiding. Earth is both. No one knew the truth. Everyone wanted Earth to admit something, anything, so the Council could feel smarter than it was yesterday. Ambassador Mira Chen stood in the center ring alone. She wore a plain grey suit with no medals and no cloak. Her hair was tied back. Her shoes did not make a sound. She placed a small metal cube on the podium and folded her hands in front of her. The cube looked ordinary, like a paperweight. It looked like nothing. Council Chair Threx flicked his crest and started the hearing. His voice was sharp and proud. Earth, your public fleets are small. Your shipyards report simple work. Your patrols are thin. You ask for respect with empty hands. Why should we listen to a minor world that brings so little? Mira lifted her eyes to the tiers of seats. The crowd was a garden of colors, scales, fur, and metal implants. She did not raise her voice. Because you are not seeing what matters, she said. You are seeing the part that is meant to be seen. Soft laughter moved around the circle. Screens lit up. The official data was clear. Few holes, light traffic, little heat from shipyards. The story looked simple and safe. Threx tapped her talent against the rail. Do not dodge. Where is this hidden strength you claim? Mira pointed gently upward. Outside, a few councillors chuckled. Some rolled their eyes. The chamber's dome turned transparent at her signal. Space opened above them like a night lake. The Council's capital world shone below with calm rings of light. Patrol boats drifted in neat lines. Merchant ships moved like slow fish. Nothing looked wrong. Nothing looked strong. Is this a joke? Threx asked. Myra pressed one corner. Of the cube, a tone too low to hear passed through the metal of the chamber. The air felt a little thicker for a moment, like pressure before rain. Outside, the polite traffic paused. A distant beacon blinked. Then a small glint appeared near the dark limb of the planet. Then another, then 10, then 100. Every sensor display began to change. Empty space filled with faint returns. Ghosts formed into shapes with registration codes. Comets unfolded into spines and veins. Asteroids split apart and showed docks inside. A ring of harmless rock changed color as hidden plating warmed. A long black stick turned and revealed guidance ribs along its back like the bones of a great fish. The whisper in the chamber turned into silence. No one laughed now. Myra spoke in a clear, steady voice. You searched for strength in the places where you keep strength. You looked for steel in bright yards, for engines on open lines, for mass at public docks. We learned different lessons. From our old wars, loud fleets die first. Quiet fleets arrive. A new contact slid into the dome view. It was not pretty. It looked like a mountain with scars. Huge bays ran down its sides like canyons. Thrusters glowed along its spine. The tag identified it. ESS Kilimanjaro.Rex leaned forward despite himself. A super Vera relief. Carrier, Mira said. It carries hospitals, foundries, farms, repair yards, and drone swarms. And yes, enough weapons to make unwise plans stop quickly. A Rimworld delegate hissed through narrow teeth. Cloaks, spoofers, you are tricking. Our sensors. Mira touched the cube again. The Kilimanjaro answered. A pencil-thin beam crossed the sky and licked an old comet. The comet did not explode. It just fell apart into bright dust, like a handful of salt thrown into the wind. Myra did not smile. "We did not come to threaten you," she said. "We came to correct a false story. You cannot make good law from false stories." The dome stayed open. More contacts appeared at the edges. Some were large, most were small. Many were odd shapes that did not match any council class. Sensors labeled them as debris, then civilian barges, then unknown, then, finally, reluctantly, Earth Fleet Auxiliary. Threx tried to control his voice. "You have placed a hidden fleet near our capital. We placed nothing near your capital before today," Mira said. "We came here now because you called us to explain our weakness. We decided to show you our strength instead. We would prefer not to be forced to do this again." Screens scrolled through quiet images. A hollow asteroid with cranes inside, like the ribs of a whale. A field of small fusion beacons, sleeping in the dark lanterns, waiting for need. A cargo tug with a whole wing of medpods hidden behind its paneling. Suits the size of birds swarming over a mining barge to wrap it. In temporary armor, nothing looked like a parade. Everything looked like work. Myra folded her hands again. Ships are tools. Tools can be counted. Capacity is harder to count. Capacity is the real power. It lets us move food, hospitals, and people faster than trouble. It lets us fight only when talking fails. A hawk from a core world thumped a fist on the rail. This is escalation. You come armed and smiling. You call it peace. Myra's tone stayed gentle. "If we wanted war, we would not be standing here talking. You would not be standing either." The hawk fell silent, jaw set. A new image took the dome, a deep cavern inside an ice moon. A long cylinder rested on supports. Engineers in orange. Suits moved around it like careful ants. The label appeared, Leviathan Drive, prototype Threx's crest flattened. "That does not look peaceful. It is a logistics heart," Myra said. "It drinks star wind and gives push without large fuel. It can move cities. It can evacuate worlds. But if someone shoots at a ship carrying a city, we will make sure they cannot do that again." A soft tremor rolled through the chamber floor. The feed cut back to the Kilimanjaro. Its side bays opened like mouths. Hundreds of small craft launched together tugs, med skiffs, harvest pods, cargo drones. They climbed and curved until they formed clear words in standard across the sky. "We came to help." Some delegates scoffed. Some looked away, embarrassed to feel anything. Some swallowed hard. Myra looked up at the words with them. "Our true arsenal is not just guns," she said. "It is hands. It is farms that grow in the dark. It is machines that carry hospitals into storms. The guns make room. The hands do the work." The chamber air felt heavy, as if the truth itself had weight. The council had wanted Earth to beg. Earth had brought receipts. Threx tried to gather control again. "You ask us to accept this display. What do you want from us in return?" My answer was simple. Open lanes, honest scans, no more fake inspection drills that waste days and shame crews. A joint rescue charter so we do not argue while people die. And when we warn you, you listen the first time. Or else. The hawk asked. Myra met his eyes without heat. Or else we will still rescue, still feed, still open lanes. We will just stop asking you first. No one spoke. The dome showed tugs peeling away toward the poor outer rings of the system, the places where the light was thin and food was thinner. The words "we came to help" slowly broke apart into useful work. Myra looked around the circle once more. "Power does not need to shout," she said. "It needs to arrive. We have arrived. Please choose wisely." She clicked the cube. The tone faded. The hidden fleet dimmed at the edges of sight. Not gone, just quiet again. The council finally understood that quiet did not mean empty, and simple did not mean weak. It meant ready. The hearing would continue. Questions would come like rain. But the first truth was now on the table, plain and heavy. Earth had been working in the dark, and the work was good. The alarm hit like a hammer. A thin siren cut the air. Red text crawled across the dome. Inbound vessels spinning loss of control ring market. Trajectory, the picture jumped to a freighter near the inner ring. The ship tumbled end over end. Broken sunlight flashing along its hull. Someone had lit distress beacons by hand. You could see them through a cracked viewport like tiny candles in a storm. The council froze. Everyone looked at everyone else, waiting for someone to move first. Paperwork ghosts wrapped around their feet. Myra did not wait. She touched the cube once. "Kilimanjaro," she said. "Protocol help first. Net capture. Med ready." The big carrier answered without drama. Tugboats peeled off like seeds in the wind. Net drones launched in a fan, each the size of a person, each carrying smart cable that could stiffen like bone. A line of medskiffs followed, quiet as swans. "Stand down," the core world hawk barked. "This is our sky. Earth will not stage a stunt in our house." "Then save them," Myra said softly. "You have 38 seconds. The feed zoomed in. A child's face flashed at a window. The ship's spin got faster. Tiny pieces flew off like sparks. Tugs arrived first. They did not slam or shout. They kissed the hull with nose pads and fired short, patient bursts. Net drones wrapped the freighter in a shining web. The net flexed with the spin, then pushed back. The tumble slowed. A tug fired sideways, exactly wrong on purpose, to shift the path by a hair. Another tug caught the change. Tiny lights flickered as the net bled away anger from the spin. You could feel the math working even if you did not know it. The freighter missed the ring market by a city block. It drifted into a holding orbit like a tired animal finding a soft ground. The medskiffs slid in through broken doors. Small shapes people moved along the net toward safety. The chamber breathed again. Some delegates clapped before they remembered not to. The hawk stood with both hands flat on the rail. "You timed that," he said. "You planned it to look like heroes." Mira looked up at the freighter. "We plan to help. The rest is luck and practice. Also look at why the ship failed." Analysts scrambled. The feed split. A zoom showed a puck-shaped device melted into a seam near the freighter's engine mounts. It was small. It was ugly. It had teeth. Threx frowned. "Stray mine." Myra shook her head. "Not stray. It rides inside a docking clamp and wakes when someone cycles power. It is the kind used by certain inspection teams that ask for favors." Silence spread again, this time sharp. A junior analyst from a rim. Wildrel ears, long and bright, whispered into a mic and pushed a scan to the dome. "Chair, the device's signature matches 3 incidents in the last year. All occurred after surprise drills by core patrols. All cases blamed on old hulls or crew error." Eyes turned toward the hawk. He did not blink. Smear us while you pretend to save us. Myra's voice stayed even. You can test the metal yourself. The medskiffs will hand it to your lab in 1 hour. We keep copies of everything we see. Threx's crest lowered. He looked older in that light. Who put it there is one problem, he said. Stopping the next one is another. What else is inside your quiet arsenal that we should know, Earth? Mira touched the cube. The dome rolled new images, not polished, just clear. They saw soft capture nets, like the one that had just hugged the freighter, woven from cable that could flow like water and then lock like stone. They saw dust mirrors, thin clouds that could reflect light together and push a ship without touching it, the way wind pushes a sail. They saw quiet thunderpods, shaped pulses that could wipe a small engine's brain without frying a hospital. Down the lane, they saw listen-fold sensors, little plates that bent radio noise into focus, so you could hear a whisper across a storm. None of it looked like victory parades. It looked like a toolbox for a hard job, force without cruelty. Mira said, "We try for that first. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it does not. But we try." Threx nodded once. "And your people? Can our people work with them without being swallowed?" Mira answered with a small smile. "You cannot be swallowed by a hand that is held out, but you can be lifted." The hawk snorted. "Pretty lines." Rel's voice came again, small but tight. "Chair, secondary alert. I'm reading something on the far lane. Multiple cold objects inbound. No transponders. They match known patterns for slaver darts." The dome view jumped. In the far dark, 20, then 40 small shapes slid like fish hugging a reef. They rode thermal drift. They showed no heat. They aimed for the outer habitats, the poor rings everyone ignored. Threx stiffened. "Security. Security is spinning up," someone answered. 2 minutes. 2 minutes, Myra repeated. "They will be inside the farms in 80 seconds. Do not move," the hawk snapped. "You will wait for our command." Mira looked at the word help fading where the skiffs had flown. She looked at the outer rings, thin and hungry, full of slow air and slow luck. She did not speak to the hawk. She spoke to the cube, Kilimanjaro, lantern pattern 7, dust mirrors on the drift, quiet thunder if they cross the red line, med, farm shield up. The carrier moved like a mountain that knew the dance. Lantern nodes woke along the lane, small fusion beacons that had been sleeping like stones. Their light made thin sails out of the dust. The sails pushed in a way you could not see until ships moved wrong and could not help it. The darts. Lines curved. Some drifted wide. Some fought to correct. "Red line," Threx asked. "Marked between the farms and the darts," Myra said. "If they cross, we shut their engines. We will not fire a single hot round unless they shoot first." "Arrogant," the hawk hissed. "Patient," Myra said. The slaver darts adjusted. A few tried to go darker, hiding behind small rocks. One fired a bolt at a lantern. The bolt died halfway, eaten by smart sand that glittered and then went. Dull Threx turned to his guards. "Stand down," he said quietly. To Mira, "If you can do this, do it with us, not over us. Share your net. Let our boats ride your light." Myra dipped her head. "Then call the doctrine, Chair." Threx straightened. His voice went across the chamber and out into the station's bones. "All units, help first doctrine. Shield civilians first. Talk. Second, shoot last. Earth will share control. The hawk opened his mouth to object. Rel beat him by speaking into the net. Council O2 Kilimanjaro, requesting dust vector lock. Copy your red line. Copy, a calm human voice replied. The darts reached the line. 3 crossed, greedy or slow. Quiet thunder rolled. You could not hear it, even in the chamber. You only saw the darts stutter and go soft, lights dimming. Tugs caught them like falling fruit. The rest of the darts turned away. Cowards or smart both were fine. A single dart tried to crash into a farm drum out of spite. A med-skiff slid between and took the hit with a disposable shield. The skiff bounced, spun and righted, then chased the dart and wrapped it in a net like a blanket on a wild animal. The farm drum kept turning. The lights inside stayed on. In the chamber, hands lifted and fell, not sure whether to clap or pray. Myra let out a slow breath she had held too long. This is the work, she said. Not glory, not headlines. Just showing up with the right tools before the worst moment. The hawk lowered his eyes. You made us look slow. We were all slow, Myra said. The slavers were fast. Next time we will be faster. Threx rubbed the ridge above his brow. There will be a next time, he said. There is always a next time. He looked at Mira, and for the first time his voice had no edge. Share your feeds, share your training, share your patience. Mira nodded. Open notebook, she said. We will show you everything we can show. Rel stepped forward from the analyst row, nervous and bright. Ambassador, they said, how do we learn to see what you see? We looked at these same lanes every day. We missed the darts. We missed the mines. What makes your eyes different? Myra thought before answering. We do not look for enemies, she said. We look for needs. Needs cast shadows you can learn to see. Food runs late. Filters clog faster. A farm orders more. Patch kits for no clear reason. A captain changes a route that used to be safe. Needs are footprints. Follow the footprints, and you will usually find the thing that makes them. Rel nodded slowly, as if writing the sentence on the inside of their skull. The hawk finally lifted his head. And when the thing is not a slaver, he said, but a fleet with flags. Myra's eyes shifted to the dark where the quiet shapes of Earth still waited. Then we asked the same question, she said. What does it need? If it needs pride, we let it keep some. If it needs food, we bring food. If it needs a hard stop, we give it the gentlest hard stop we can. The feed showed the outer rings again. Lanterns dimmed. Tugs returned. The freighter sat in its net like a saved story. The words we came to help were gone now. Work had replaced. Them Threx leaned on the rail, tired and honest. We will need terms, he said. Clear ones. Mira met his eyes. Then tomorrow we write them, she said. Today we saved who we could. A soft chime announced that the med teams had transferred the last survivor. The chamber felt a degree warmer, far out. Something else moved bigger than darts, slower than pride. The feed tagged it unknown mass trajectory council word. Rel swallowed. Chair, they whispered. There is going to be a harder test. Mira did not look away. Good, she said quietly. Then we will pass it together. The warning hit before anyone could sit down. Unknown Masno Beacon Council. Window, 23 minutes. The dome zoomed. A dark shape rolled in the lane like a dead world. It was long, scarred and cold. It did not answer hails. It did not burn engines. It just fell, slow and sure, toward the council's busy sky. Threx gripped the rail. Range. 4 million kilometers, Rel said. Their voice shook but did not fail. Trajectory crosses the traffic shells and the inner farms. Debris. Risk is extreme. The core world hawk did not hide his fear with anger this time. We fire now. Break it to dust before it hits anything. Mira did not look away from the falling shape. You will make a storm of knives, she said. That storm will hit the farms and the ring markets. We need to know what it is first. It is a rock, the hawk snapped. Rel zoomed again. Faint, regular flickers moved along the hull, too even to be random. No, they whispered. It's signals. Low power. Repeating. Life. Threx asked. Not life signs, Rel said, but patterns like heartbeats. Mira touched the cube. Kilimanjaro, we need eyes. Quiet approach. All ships hold fire. Copy, the carrier answered. A lance of small scouts launched and fanned out. They did not light bright engines. They rode lantern light and drift math. They reached the mass and began to paint it with soft scans radio. Thermal, ghost echo. The returns climbed the chamber screens. The shape was a pilgrim cylinder once an old, slow ship for long journeys. Now it was cracked and stripped. Panels were gone. Whole ribs showed. Deep inside, in the dark, rows of small pods were stacked like seeds. Many were dead and cold. Too many still blinked. Cryo caskets, Rel said. They swallowed. People inside, hundreds, maybe thousands. A cold taste moved through the chamber. The hawk closed his eyes for one breath, then opened them hard. Then we cannot break it, he said. But how do we stop it? Mira spoke to the cube again. We run catch and peel. Dust mirrors for drag. Nets for roll control. Quiet thunder on any live traps. Med on ready. Council to share control. Under help first doctrine. Threx nodded, fast and sharp. Approved. All units help first. Shield first. Talk second. Shoot last. Earth will share vectors. He turned to the hawk. Your boats will fly the first shield wall. Make it clean. The hawk hit his mic. Core patrol, form on my mark. We are not the story. The people in that cylinder are the story. Kilimanjaro woke the lantern nodes again, but this time they did not write words. They laid a thin, light road across the lane, then released dust. Mirrors clouds of reflective dust that made a soft sail in space. Tugs carried soft capture nets and spread out like patient spiders. Farther out, council boats formed a loose shield. Not to block a shot there was no shooting, but to catch. The small, stupid things that always fly where they should not during a rescue. Any slaver locks? Threx asked. Scanning, a human tech replied. We see several teeth along the spine. If we pull hard, they bite and cook the core. What core? The hawk asked. Grav core, Myra said quietly, half dead overheating. If it breaks, the ship does not just fall. It rips and throws pieces like a storm god. So we cannot push too hard, Threx said. We push gentle and long, Myra said. And we bleed heat without cracking anything. The first dust mirrors kissed the cylinder's skin. They did not grab. They glided along it and shone light just enough to push. The push was like a breath on a heavy door, slow, patient, real tugs. Fired small bursts. Nets flowed out and wrapped around broken struts. The nets did not lock all at once. They flexed with the spin. They learned the motion. Then they pressed back and slowed it, second by second, degree by degree. Inside the chamber, a clock counted down. 21:34, 21:33. Heat is rising, Rel said. Core crust at 91%. Mira spoke without fear, but with speed. Quiet thunderpods, on my mark. Target the trigger lines, not the core. We want the traps asleep. Marked, the tech said. 3, 2 mark. Invisible pulses rolled. You saw the result, not the wave. 15 small icons on the whole map flickered from red to black. 5 stayed red. One more pass, Rel said. Lower amplitude, different phase. Copy, the tech said. Adjusting. Mark. 3 more traps died. 2 did not. We can cut them, the hawk said. Board and cut. Cutting wakes them, Myra said. We need a hand that is not a blade. Captain Raffi Ortiz slid into the conversation like he had been waiting just off stage. Constellation team on the line, he said. We can hug, not cut. Threx glanced at Myra. She gave a small nod. Go, she told Raffi. No heroics. We need you back. Copy, Raffi said. His squad of Constellation armor small suits that could swarm and lock together launched from a tug. They were not fast. They were right. They reached the cylinder and flowed over the hull like a school of fish. Tiny arms held. Tiny anchors sunk into safe metal. The suits linked and formed a brace around the 2 live traps. They did not yank. They hugged. They took the stress into themselves, the way a good friend takes anger into a hug. The trap lines loosened by a hair. The live icons flickered. Raffi breathed out, holding. Heat, Mira asked. 93%, Rel said. We need bleed. Open the old sprayers, Mira said. If any work. Trying, a human engineer replied. Their rust and prayer, Ambassador. Pray harder, Mira said, and for once she smiled. One sprayer coughed and spat. Another groaned open. Thin vapor lines hissed out into the light wind of the dust mirrors. The vapor made the dust stick a little more. The stick made the push a little stronger. The stronger push slowed the spin and changed the path by a hair. You could measure with math and faith. The countdown rolled past 15 minutes. The path line shifted off the ring markets. It still pointed at the inner farms. Council boats moved closer, shields wide. The hawk's voice stayed level. Hold the... Well, if it sheds, we take the small hits. Gravcore at 95, Rel said. She is angry. We give her a safe bed, Myra said. Kilimanjaro, open bay 12, reef yard assist. Bay 12 cannot swallow that mass, a council engineer objected. Not to swallow, Mira said. To touch, we will give. The cylinder something big to lean on. The carrier turned its wounded mountainside to the path. Bay 12 opened like a canyon. Inside, reef yard scaffolds lit upgrowth frames meant to build ships, now turned to catch one. Tugs pulled nets into the bay mouth. The dust mirrors shaped a last soft push. Raffi's team counted together. 3, 2, 1 brace. The cylinder kissed the bay's mouth. It did not break. The net took the shock. The reframes bent and sang. The spin bled away like anger after a long cry. The path line curved and settled. The clock hit 8:12 and started to feel less like a sword and more like a tool. Heat, Mira asked. Dropping, Rel said. Their voice finally let hope in. 90, 88, 85. Traps? Threx asked. Dormant, the tech said. We will keep them bored. The hawk let out a breath with a small laugh that surprised even him. That was good work. Raffi's voice came, rough and warm. We are still on the hull. We can hear knocking. He paused. Not ghosts, people. Waking slow. Med teams, Threx ordered. Go. Skiffs moved in. Bays opened. Gentle hands did what guns never can. In the chamber, no one spoke for a long half-minute. The dome showed busy kindness. The kind that looks boring in reports and feels holy in person. Threx finally turned to Mira. Terms, he said. We will not wait until the next siren to speak them. Mira kept it simple. Rescue charter. Joint patrols under Help First doctrine. Clean inspection code with pay for delays. Open lanes. Data trust when we warn, you move. The hawk lifted a hand. Add one more. Shared training. Your eyes for needs. Teach them to our people. Mira nodded. Done. Rel raised. A small hand. And prosecution, they said. Voice steady now. For the minds on the freighter. We cannot pretend we did not see. Threx's crest dipped. Recorded, he said. We will dig. We will cut rot. Votes lit the board. Green climbed fast. Amber followed. Red tried to hold and failed. The motion passed before the med team opened the first live pod. The dome turned transparent again. Outside, the Kilimanjaro held the broken pilgrim like a parent holds a sleeping child in a doorway. Tugs floated like tired bees. Council boats kept their quiet wall, shields still wide. Threx looked at Myra without hate, without pride, just with relief. Anything else we should know about Earth's arsenal? He asked. Myra looked at the busy sky. Only this, she said. It grows when we share it. It shrinks when we hide it. Today we chose to share. Raffi's voice came one last time. First pod open. Child breathing. The chamber did not clap. It just breathed with that child. Across the network, a simple message left the council and ran the lanes like a new law. Help First doctrine active. And in many small places, captains who had never met Myra Chen changed how they would act on the next hard day. Power did not shout that day. It arrived. And it stayed. And it made room to live.